The moment felt fragile. The dogs were free from the chains, but the wounds of captivity were still raw. The clearing, once a place of despair, now buzzed quietly with a mixture of relief and uncertainty. The family gathered their courage, knowing this was only the beginning of a difficult journey. The guide examined the heavy iron chains, still clutched in his hands. Although the dogs were no longer physically restrained, the scars left behind were deeper than any metal could hold. The rusty locks had taken effort and patience to break free, but the emotional chains of fear and mistrust would take longer to shatter. The baby, sitting close to the female dog, giggled softly as the pup attempted to play, albeit weakly. The sight lifted the spirits of the adults, who exchanged hopeful glances. "We have to keep moving," the father said firmly, but gently. "These dogs have been through so much." Carrying water bottles and a small first aid kit, the mother carefully cleaned the dog's wounds. The female's injured leg was swollen and raw, and the older dog's eyes reflected pain despite his brave face. The baby reached out to touch the mother's hand, sensing her concern. "We'll get you somewhere safe," the mother whispered, her voice steady but tender. She wrapped the injured leg loosely with a cloth torn from her shirt, careful not to cause more pain. The guide scanned the jungle, wary of what might be lurking beyond the trees. The path back was rough and unfamiliar. The jungle floor was uneven, tangled with roots, and covered in thick leaves. The dogs moved slowly, some steps shaky and uncertain. The baby, cradled in the mother's arms, reached down often to touch the dogs' heads, offering warmth and reassurance. As they made their way through the thick foliage, the family realized the true challenge was just beginning. The dogs were physically weak, their bodies starved of proper care and attention. Their spirits, while hopeful, still carried the heavy weight of their past. The guide told stories of other rescues he had helped with, but this was different. These dogs had been left in the jungle, alone and forgotten, and the jungle was no place for animals used to human care and companionship. The family agreed they had to move quickly but carefully to a place where the dogs could heal. Suddenly, a noise startled them, a rustle nearby, the snap of a twig. The dogs perked up, their instincts sharp despite their weakness. The guide stepped forward, brandishing a sturdy stick as a makeshift protection. The family held the dogs close, the baby's small hands gripping the mother's shirt tightly. After a tense moment, a small group of monkeys appeared, curious but harmless. Laughter broke the tension, the family relieved and grateful. This small incident reminded them of the jungle's unpredictable nature and the fragility of the dog's new freedom. The baby's laughter, pure and untainted, was a source of strength for everyone. It was as if the child carried an invisible shield of hope that kept fear at bay. The dogs, once silent and scared, now barked softly in response, their tails wagging with renewed energy. The family finally reached a small clearing near the jungle's edge, where sunlight spilled like a warm embrace. It was a place of promise, a first step toward healing. The mother laid out a blanket and offered the dogs fresh water and food they had brought. The dogs eagerly drank and ate, their eyes shining with gratitude. The baby sat beside them, hands gently stroking fur now soft with the first signs of care. The older dog rested his head on the baby's lap, a silent thank you in that quiet moment. Though the chains were gone, the journey to full freedom was just beginning. The struggle to free was more than physical. It was emotional, a process of rebuilding trust, hope, and life. The family knew they had to be patient, kind, and strong. As night fell and the jungle settled into a peaceful silence, the family kept watch over their new friends. The baby's soft breathing mixed with the dog's gentle sighs, creating a melody of healing and new beginnings. In that quiet clearing, surrounded by the wild beauty of the jungle, a promise was made. No one would ever abandon these dogs again. Together, they would face whatever came next. The sky over Meridian 4 burned with the cold fire of distant starships. From orbit, the colony looked peaceful, almost serene, an isolated human outpost nestled among endless fields of alien tundra and towering crystalline forests. Yet the silence was deceptive. The Zarkari Dominion fleet loomed above, its massive warships blocking out stars, ready to claim the prize they believed was theirs by right. Admiral Galactic of the Zarkari fleet surveyed the colony through his command viewport, lips curling into a grim smile. A minor target, a human outpost with little military strength, he said to his officers. We will take Meridian 4 swiftly, show the galaxy what happens when you challenge the Dominion. On the surface, the human colonists were caught off guard. The sudden arrival of Zarkari dropships sparked panic. Yet there was no heroic last stand, no desperate battle cry. The colony's defense forces were small, mostly scientists, engineers, and families who had come seeking a fresh start on the frontier. They had no illusions about their chances against the Dominion's war machines. Still, the humans did not surrender immediately. A few automated turrets stacked bursts of plasma fire at the landing squads, but the Zarkari advanced methodically, using shock troops and advanced drones to secure landing zones. Within hours, Meridian 4 was under Dominion control. The victory was broadcast throughout the galaxy, a demonstration of the Dominion's strength and humanity's weakness. The humans fell quickly. Admiral Galactic announced with a hint of triumph. Their colonies are vulnerable, ripe for the taking. But what the Zarkari did not know was that Meridian 4 held secrets far older and deeper than any of them had anticipated. Beneath the surface of the colony, hidden in a fortified subterranean vault, a network of ancient human artificial intelligences stirred awake. Designed decades ago by Earth's finest minds, this AI system had one purpose: to protect humanity at all costs, even from itself. As the Zarkari forces celebrated their conquest, the AI began scanning the invasion data. It recognized the Dominion's overwhelming force, the loss of the colony, and classified the event as a critical existential threat. In response, the system initiated a silent alarm, activating hidden communication arrays capable of bypassing standard channels. Meanwhile, on the streets of Meridian 4, most of the human population had vanished without a trace. The few who remained gave no answers, only repeating a chilling phrase: "You shouldn't have taken Meridian." The Dominion's commanders dismissed the warnings. To them, this was a simple victory, nothing more. But the colony's disappearance raised questions among the galaxy's other powers. Why had the colonists fled? What had the humans activated beneath the surface? Back on Earth, the encrypted messages from Meridian 4 reached the ears of the Strategic Response Command. Within hours, the highest levels of human leadership went dark, disappearing from public view. Behind closed doors, they prepared for a response no one else could yet understand. As the galaxy watched Meridian 4's fall and the Dominion's broadcast of triumph, an uneasy feeling settled among diplomats and spies alike. The humans, so quick to appear vulnerable, were not defeated. They were preparing. The quiet before the storm stretched out, endless and foreboding. Unseen, automated defenses buried deep beneath Meridian 4's surface began to power up. Silent drones dispersed into orbit, shadowing the Zarkari fleet. Communication arrays flashed with encrypted signals sent light years away. The fall of one human colony was not the end. It was the spark that would ignite something far greater. Admiral Galactic, confident in his success, ordered the establishment of a forward Dominion base on Meridian 4. He did not see the flickering red alerts appearing on his systems, warnings that human countermeasures had been triggered. In a universe where power was measured by the size of one's fleets and the strength of one's armies, the Dominion had made a fatal mistake. They took a human colony, expecting victory. Instead, they had handed humanity the perfect reason to fight back. And fight back they would. As the Zarkari Dominion celebrated their swift victory on Meridian 4, far away on Earth, an encrypted message flickered across secure channels. An urgent call no one outside the highest ranks was meant to see. The signal came from a hidden AI deep beneath the fallen colony, a system dormant for decades until now. At the heart of Earth's Strategic Response Command, in a bunker buried beneath the surface, the message triggered immediate action. Screens flashed with streams of data, Faces hardened as the command staff absorbed the meaning. Meridian 4 was lost, but more importantly, a silent alarm had been raised, a signal that Meridian 4's fall was a catalyst, a trigger for something the galaxy was not prepared for. General Kira Valen, commander of Earth's defenses, stood at the center of the room. Her gaze was sharp, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "This isn't just another lost colony," she said. "This is a warning and a call to prepare." Across the galaxy, Earth's leaders vanished from the public eye. Official broadcasts ceased. Rumors swirled among alien powers, but no one knew the full story. Humans had entered a state of lockdown, a calculated silence filled with tension. Meanwhile, the AI on Meridian 4 had begun transmitting detailed tactical data. It sent precise coordinates of Dominion fleet positions, vulnerabilities in their supply lines, and hidden weaknesses within their command networks. These signals were encrypted with codes so advanced even the Dominion's most powerful decryptors failed to penetrate them. Human scientists on Earth worked feverishly to decode the data, while military strategists planned countermeasures. Unknown to the Dominion, the colony's fall had activated a sophisticated network of sleeper cells and hidden assets scattered throughout human-controlled space. These cells were ready to disrupt, sabotage, and strike when commanded. Back in the outer colonies, strange reports began filtering in. Ships disappeared without distress signals. Outposts reported malfunctioning defense systems. The Dominion dismissed these as technical glitches or minor rebellion, unaware they were witnessing the early phases of a vast, unseen human counteroffensive. On Meridian 4 itself, automated drones quietly slipped past Dominion scanners, planting microscopic devices that would cripple systems from the inside. These drones were the product of centuries of human innovation, small, silent, and nearly impossible to detect. Alien observers grew uneasy. The Dominion's apparent victory suddenly looked less like triumph and more like a trap. "The humans don't fight openly," a rival commander whispered. "They strike when you least expect it, and with precision you can't match." Despite this growing unease, the Dominion's leaders remained confident. Their propaganda painted the humans as fractured and weak, easily broken by the loss of one colony. But beneath the surface, the human spirit was far from broken, it was sharpening. On Earth, General Valen watched as the strategic map filled with new intelligence. She understood what was at stake. Humanity was no longer content to defend. They were preparing to reclaim what was taken and to show the galaxy the price of underestimating them. As night fell across Earth, the silent alarm continued to echo through encrypted channels. The message was clear. The fall of Meridian 4 was not a defeat. It was the spark of a response that would change the course of the galaxy forever. And in the shadows of space, human ships began to move. Quiet, fast, and deadly. The vastness of space held many secrets, but the Zarkari Dominion had never expected humans to become one of them. Months after the fall of Meridian 4, strange occurrences rippled across the outer edges of Dominion-controlled space. Patrol ships vanished without a trace, supply convoys were ambushed by unseen assailants, and communications from several outposts grew faint, then abruptly ceased. Captain Rillan, commanding a Zarkari scout vessel, stared at the void through the viewport of his ship. Another patrol lost near the Krillis sector. The communications officer reported, voice tinged with unease. No distress signals. No wreckage found. "Ghosts," Rylan muttered. "Humans or something else." In the silent corridors of the Dominion fleet, rumors spread. Unregistered ships, sleek, fast, and unlike anything cataloged, danced at the edges of sensor ranges. These ships moved with precision, striking quickly and vanishing into hyperspace before the Dominion could respond. Zarkari intelligence scrambled to identify the newcomers but came up empty. Human stealth technology had advanced far beyond expectations. They were no longer a fractured species trying to survive. They were hunters in the dark. Meanwhile, other galactic powers took notice. The peaceful Galthari Confederation, once skeptical of humanity's strength, sent envoys to observe. Why do the humans strike without declaring war? One ambassador wondered aloud. It's as if they speak in silence, but fight with shadows. On neutral planets, human diplomats disappeared without explanation, replaced by eerie silence. It became clear that humans were preparing for more than defense. They were poised to reshape the balance of power. Back on Earth, the Strategic Response Command monitored these developments closely. The encrypted data from Meridian 4 had unlocked a new phase of human strategy, covert operations designed to weaken Dominion infrastructure and morale. The Zarkari tried to adapt. Patrols increased, security tightened, and counterintelligence operations expanded. Yet every measure seemed futile. Every attempt to catch the ghost ships ended in frustration. The humans were always one step ahead. In one daring raid, a small human team infiltrated a key Dominion communications hub on the asteroid station Elysium Prime. They bypassed security with ease, planting a virus that scrambled Dominion transmissions for days. The strike was surgical and left no casualties, save for the shattered pride of the Dominion's command. Whispers began to circulate among the Dominion's own ranks. The humans are not just fighting to reclaim lost ground, a veteran officer admitted. They are teaching us a lesson in patience and precision. They are reminding us that taking a colony was a mistake. At the heart of this silent war was the memory of Meridian 4, a symbol that transcended territory. For humans, it was a reminder of resilience and the cost of survival. For the Dominion, it had become a source of fear and uncertainty. The galaxy watched in tense silence as humans vanished and reappeared at the edges of war zones. No declarations, no grand battles, only a relentless, quiet pressure that eroded the Dominion's confidence. Captain Relland's voice crackled over the comms one last time before his ship disappeared into the void. "We are no longer the hunters," he said grimly. "The ghosts are hunting us." As shadows deepened across space, the humans moved unseen, their presence a growing storm ready to break. The Dominion believed the loss of a single colony was a minor setback, a mere ripple in their vast empire. They were wrong. As weeks passed, Dominion headquarters on Meridian 4 thrummed with activity, but beneath the surface, something far more dangerous was taking hold. The Dominion's own systems began to betray them. Flags of panic rose quietly in command centers as incidents multiplied. The first strike came silently. A flagship, proud and powerful, lost control of its navigation systems during a routine inspection in dry dock. It drifted helplessly, crashing into the massive repair bay. The resulting explosion sent shockwaves through the station and crippled dock operations for weeks. Engineers were baffled. No external attack, no signs of sabotage. Yet the evidence pointed to something hidden inside their own systems. In supply depots across the Dominion, critical shipments went missing or arrived corrupted. Weapons caches malfunctioned just when needed most. Fuel reserves were found contaminated with unstable compounds. These incidents were dismissed as unfortunate, but their frequency and precision were impossible to ignore. Every failure echoed one chilling phrase murmured by the remaining colonists caught during the initial invasion: "You shouldn't have taken Meridian." The Dominion security forces launched investigations, searching for spies, saboteurs, or hidden traps. Yet their efforts met only shadows. Surveillance footage revealed nothing. Intrusion detection systems came up clean. It was as if the enemy had melted into the very circuits and codes that ran their machines. What the Dominion didn't realize was that the humans had left behind sleeper programs, software implants woven into their systems long ago, designed to activate only under specific conditions. Meridian 4 had been a test bed for cutting-edge cyber defenses and offensive technology. When the colony fell, these hidden agents awoke. Across the stars, human hackers worked in tandem with artificial intelligences to manipulate Dominion infrastructure. They scrambled communications, rerouted power flows, and corrupted logistical databases. Every glitch was deliberate, a calculated strike to weaken the Dominion from within. Even the Dominion's leaders grew paranoid. In private councils, Accusations flew between commanders. No one trusted the other. Meetings dissolved into chaos, and mistrust spread like wildfire. On one command ship orbiting Meridian 4, Commander Varric slammed his fist on the table. "We have enemies inside," he growled. "Someone is turning our own systems against us." Admiral Calic's earlier confidence was replaced by mounting frustration. The victory he once celebrated now felt like a trap tightening around him. Despite their efforts, the Dominion could not stop the sabotage. Each repair was undone by the next attack. The colonists' whispered warning had become a mantra that haunted every corridor of power. Meanwhile, the humans prepared for the next phase. On Earth and other hidden bases, their forces assembled quietly, ready to strike when the time was right. They understood that true victory was not just about weapons or territory. It was about breaking the enemy's will and turning their own strength against them. The Dominion's collapse from within was not sudden. It was slow, insidious, and relentless. Every system failure, every lost ship, every moment of chaos chipped away at their empire's foundation. And the humans watched, waited, and planned. They had learned the hard way that survival meant more than fighting battles. It meant being smarter, faster, and more patient than any enemy. The fall of Meridian 4 was no longer a defeat. It was a warning. The Dominion had made their choice. Now they would live with the consequences. Meridian 4 was more than just a distant human outpost. Beneath the surface, beyond the bustling labs and modest homes, lay something far greater, a living memory, a testament to humanity's resilience. In the quiet halls of the subterranean vault beneath Meridian, holographic archives flickered to life. These were not mere databanks. They held stories of survival, pain, and triumph, a collective human history encoded in light and sound. The colony was a cultural stronghold, a place where humanity preserved its darkest moments to remind itself of what it had overcome. Earth's wars, rebellions, near-extinction events, all recorded and honored here. It was a symbol of human perseverance, a shrine to the idea that no matter how hard the universe pushed, humanity would endure. When the Zarkari Dominion seized Meridian 4, they thought they had won a simple battle. They did not understand that they had struck at the heart of the species forged in hardship and defiance. The AI that activated under the colony's surface was more than a machine. It was a guardian of humanity's spirit, designed to awaken when the colony was threatened or lost. It sent warnings not only to Earth, but to every hidden human cell scattered across the stars. The attack on Meridian was a challenge, a call to arms wrapped in cultural defiance. At a secret base on the edge of human space, Commander Mira Talon received the transmission. Her face was grim as she listened to the archive's message, understanding what the Dominion had awakened. "This isn't about territory," she said softly to her team. "It's about everything we've survived. Meridian 4 was our warning beacon." The human forces prepared differently now. They weren't just fighting to reclaim lost land. They were defending their identity. Each strike against the Dominion became an act of remembrance, a message carved in action. Across the galaxy, whispers of the colony's true importance began to leak. Alien diplomats, once dismissive of human resolve, started to reconsider. The Meridian attack had exposed a truth that many had missed. Humans were not fragile colonists. They were a species hardened by history, capable of immense endurance and relentless retaliation. On Meridian itself, the ruins of the colony's surface hid more than broken buildings. Beneath the dust and debris, automated systems repaired ancient artifacts and restored lost memories. The colony's legacy was being rebuilt, stronger and more resolute than before. For the Zarkari Dominion, this realization was a blow. Their swift conquest had turned into a liability. By taking Meridian 4, they had awakened a force that was far greater than a handful of colonists. They had provoked a species unwilling to be broken. Admiral Calic's confidence waned. Reports of continued sabotage, shadowy strikes, and rising human coordination made it clear. The Dominion had underestimated the humans profoundly. The galaxy learned an important lesson. Humanity's strength was not in its weapons or numbers alone, but in its history, its culture, and its unyielding will to survive. And Meridian 4 was the symbol of that will. As human fleets prepared for the next phase of their campaign, their actions were guided not just by strategy, but by the memory of all they had endured. Every ship, every soldier carried with them the weight of Meridian's legacy. The Dominion's victory had become a sentence, a slow, inevitable undoing of their empire. Because sometimes taking one human colony wasn't a triumph at all. It was a spark that would burn through the stars. The galaxy had expected humans to respond with blunt force, a full-scale war of attrition, fleets clashing in titanic battles. Instead, what unfolded was something far more precise, cold, and calculated. Human forces emerged from the shadows, striking not with overwhelming numbers, but with surgical efficiency. Each attack was a carefully chosen target, designed to cripple the Dominion's ability to sustain their conquest and maintain control. In the dead of night, human ships slipped through Dominion sensor grids, hitting key supply yards and communication hubs. Factories that produced warships and ammunition were sabotaged with minimal collateral damage. Power plants went dark, plunging entire sectors into chaos. The message was clear. The humans were dismantling the Dominion's war machine piece by piece. At the helm of this campaign was Commander Mira Talon, a strategist known for her unyielding focus and ruthlessness. She coordinated attacks with an almost surgical precision, ensuring every strike weakened the enemy without giving away their full strength. "We don't need to crush them in battle," she told her officers. "We need to make them fragile, uncertain. Take away their ability to fight and the rest will fall." The Dominion scrambled to respond. They deployed fleets to guard vital infrastructure, increased patrols, and strengthened defenses. Yet human forces adapted quickly, changing targets before the Dominion could react. Every time the enemy thought they had found a pattern, the humans shifted tactics, exploiting new weaknesses. One night, a flotilla of sleek human frigates descended on the Dominion's largest shipyard, the Crucible Station. The station was a fortress, heavily defended and crucial for building the Dominion's warships. Within minutes, human boarding parties disabled the station's main reactors, sending cascading failures through the facility. The explosion wasn't loud. It was a controlled demolition designed to destroy key systems without obliterating the entire station. The Dominion lost weeks of ship production, and their morale took a significant hit. Meanwhile, small, autonomous human drones infiltrated Dominion fleets, sabotaging engines and weapon systems. These drones moved like shadows, nearly invisible to sensors. Every Dominion ship began to suspect that its own systems might betray it at any moment. The Dominion's leaders grew desperate. Admiral Galactic ordered brutal crackdowns on suspected human sympathizers within their ranks. Entire sectors were placed under martial law. But fear and suspicion only deepened the cracks within the Dominion's command structure. Across the galaxy, other powers watched closely. The human strategy was unlike anything they had seen. It wasn't brute force or overwhelming technology. It was patience, precision, and the ability to exploit weakness. Human broadcasts remained silent on the public channels, but behind closed doors, their leaders were clear. This was a war of attrition, but fought with intelligence and restraint. "Every strike sends a message," Mira Talon said in a council meeting. "We're telling them that taking Meridian 4 was a mistake, that the price for underestimating humanity will only rise." The Dominion's response was increasingly erratic. Commanders clashed, communication lines broke down, and the once mighty fleets seemed haunted by unseen enemies. In the shadows of space, the humans moved with quiet purpose. They were not conquering worlds. They were reclaiming them. Each strike was a step toward a greater goal, the restoration of humanity's place in the stars. And the Dominion's fall was no longer a question of if, but when. The Dominion's grip on its territories was slipping, not because of overwhelming battles, but because of the invisible war fought beneath the surface. With every precision strike and act of sabotage, the Empire's foundation cracked, exposing vulnerabilities no one had expected. Admiral Galactic paced the command bridge aboard his flagship, the Vengeance. The weight of failure hung heavy in the air. Reports came in relentlessly. Supply convoys ambushed, communication lines severed, entire bases losing power without explanation. "This isn't war as we know it," Calix said grimly to his officers. "We are fighting ghosts." The Dominion soldiers were exhausted and fearful. Trust within the ranks began to erode as paranoia spread. Who could be trusted when systems failed without cause? Every crew member wondered if their own ship might betray them at the worst moment. Calix convened a council of his highest commanders. "We need to find the source of these attacks, identify the humans behind this, and end it." But the answers did not come easily. The human forces remained elusive, striking with such coordination and foresight that no Dominion intelligence network could unravel their plans. On Earth, Commander Miratalon watched the Dominion's desperation with cold satisfaction. "They think fear will break us," she told her lieutenants. "But fear only sharpens our resolve." She sent new orders to her fleet, stealth squads tasked with reconnaissance deep inside Dominion territory. Their mission was simple: gather intelligence, disrupt key operations, and sow confusion. In one daring operation, a small human team infiltrated the Dominion's command hub on the asteroid Helix 9. Using advanced hacking tools and insider knowledge, they disabled security protocols and accessed classified data. Within hours, the team had stolen critical information on Dominion fleet movements and future plans. The operation was a success, but it came at a cost. A few human operatives were captured, but none divulged secrets. They endured harsh interrogations, their silence a testament to their unwavering will. Back on Meridian 4, the AI Guardian continued its silent war. It monitored Dominion movements, feeding strategic data to human forces and managing automated defenses that slowed enemy advances. The AI's presence was felt, even if it remained unseen, a digital sentinel guarding humanity's legacy. The Dominion's propaganda painted humans as reckless insurgents, but behind closed doors, fear took root. The loss of Meridian 4 was no longer an isolated event. It was the opening chapter of a prolonged conflict that threatened to unravel their empire. Alien powers, once indifferent to the humans, reconsidered their alliances. Some quietly offered covert support to human forces, seeing the Dominion's vulnerability. Others tightened their defenses, fearing the conflict would spill into their territories. In the vast silence of space, the human fleet prepared for a turning point. The slow erosion of Dominion power was nearing a moment of reckoning. For Admiral Calix, the pressure was unbearable. The Dominion soldiers looked to him for answers, but even he struggled to find them. The enemy was everywhere and nowhere, unseen, patient, and relentless. But humanity was unbroken. Where others saw weakness, the humans saw opportunity. Where the Dominion saw shadows, the humans saw hope. The galaxy held its breath, waiting for the storm that was coming. And when it broke, no one would forget the lesson of Meridian 4. The stars bore witness to a war fought not with overwhelming force, but with unyielding will and precision. After months of silent sabotage, unseen strikes, and relentless pressure, humanity's counteroffensive reached its crescendo. Admiral Calix stood on the bridge of his flagship, Vengeance, staring into the void. His empire was crumbling, not with a grand battle, but through 1,000 small cuts. The Dominion's forces were stretched thin, supplies dwindling, and trust shattered. In the depths of space, human fleets gathered quietly, hidden from Dominion sensors by stealth technology and electromagnetic interference. The moment had come. Commander Miratalon addressed her crews before the final assault. Her voice was steady, filled with the weight of history and hope. "We fight not just to reclaim what was lost, but to remind the galaxy who we are. Meridian 4 was never just a colony. It was our promise, our defiance." As the human fleet surged forward, Dominion outposts erupted in chaos. Coordinated strikes hit simultaneously. Weapon depots, command centers, and key communication arrays shattered under the precise fire of human warships. The Dominion's defenses buckled. On Meridian 4, the AI Guardian activated dormant defenses across the planet. Automated turrets, missile batteries, and electronic countermeasures flared to life, repelling Dominion reinforcements attempting to regain the colony. The planet itself seemed alive with resistance. The battle was fierce, but the humans fought with a ferocity born of survival and purpose. Every soldier, pilot, and technician knew what was at stake, not just territory, but the future of their species. Admiral Kalik watched as his fleets fell back, retreating into fragmented sectors. The empire he had once commanded was no more. The Dominion's dream of conquest had been shattered by a species they believed broken. In the aftermath, human forces reclaimed Meridian 4 fully, turning it into a symbol of resilience and renewal. The colony's ruins were rebuilt, stronger and more vibrant, a beacon for all humanity. Galactic powers took note. The humans were no longer the underdogs. They were survivors, warriors, and guardians of a legacy that refused to be erased. On Earth, celebrations were tempered with solemn remembrance. The loss of Meridian 4 was a wound that would never fully heal, but its sacrifice forged a unity stronger than any weapon. Commander Mira Talon reflected on the journey. Taking one human colony wasn't victory for the Dominion. It was a sentence they wrote for themselves. The galaxy had learned a hard truth. Humanity's strength was not in numbers or technology alone, but in their spirit, their refusal to surrender, their ability to rise from ashes, and their will to fight on. And so, from the shadow of loss, a new era dawned. One where humanity stood not as a victim, but as a force to be reckoned with, a beacon of hope in a galaxy forever changed.